Chris Williams, Chris Hassel. Two guys named Chris. Presented by Fairway Meat and Grocery. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
Good morning. It is July the 3rd, the day before the best holiday of the year. It's basically a holiday.
Best holiday of the year, huh?
Oh, I love the 4th of July.
You're really laying into that American pride.
I love it. It's
You
so
can't-
great.
The 4th is great. You can't say it's better than Thanksgiving or Christmas, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, because you're selfish. You want presents.
Because I want those gifts, yeah. What's great about the 4th of
I'm
July
always
is that
working
it's-
on Thanksgiving, so I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
count
And
that.
it's right in the middle of, right in the heart of the end of the season, rivalry week in college football. The 4th of July comes at a time where there's really nothing else going on. And for you guys, it's actually nice outside. But for us South Floridians, it's every bit as nice on Thanksgiving and Christmas as it is on the
This
4th
is true.
of July.
Yeah, but on the 4th of July, everybody isn't out with their shirts off in their driveway, shooting off explosives, drinking beer for hours at a time.
That's one of the reasons why the 4th of July is not in my top 2.
Oh, F off.
I hate homemade, home exploded fireworks. And so does my dog. Listen to
screw
it. See,
you.
you mention fireworks and my dog just goes nuts.
Screw you. Hey, if your kids are listening, if you're driving somewhere, earmuffs right now, okay? I'm giving you 1, 2, 3. Screw you, you little bitch.
I like big fireworks. You go downtown. I'm growing up in Muscatoon. We'd go down to the riverfront. They'd blow off the fireworks off of a boat in the middle of the Mississippi. I like that. That's fine. But you assholes that just light off fireworks for like a week straight at 10, 11, midnight.
Yeah, we're celebrating our country.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
That's not what you're doing.
We have
You're
American
just being-
pride.
You're being
Unlike
dicks.
you, over Independence Day, the bulk of the holiday, you're hanging out in Greece.
I tell you
That
what,
shithole.
Greece is on the very top of my list. I did not expect it. I didn't think anything would top Italy. We went there in 2019. I've also been to France, and I've been to, the BVI's, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Mexico, some of those places down there. Greece is hands down the best. Now,
It looked really cool following along with your trip.
spent a lot of money. I mean, we spent a lot of money, and I think that probably went into it. We had incredible amenities and accommodations. I'm now broke. I have to
Elitist.
now turn. I have to
You
turn.
can't
in
call
the
me an
pool.
elitist.
That they're coming and they're repoing my pool as we speak.
What are you standing in front of right there? What is that? If you're
Well,
watching,
that's
on
the
TV?
Parthenon.
Is that where they had the Olympics?
That is in the Acropolis, which is it's amazing because it's on this mountain that overlooks the city of Athens, and you hike up there and just these ancient ruins from thousands of years ago. It's incredible.
Boy, that's just what we don't get here in this country is that history. You realize how, relatively new
How
the United
young our
States
country is compared
Yeah.
to.
Man, I've never been to Europe, but I've been to Mexico. I've done the, everything in Mexico. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to Jamaica, and there's just so much more history in every other country. Not that we don't have our own history. It's just we're so young, like you were saying. And then you do that, and you bounce across the pond like you did, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to walk through the Colosseum in Rome and that type of stuff. It's
Is this
freaking.
like
I'm
your
glad you
own
got to
pool?
experience it, man. That's
Is
great.
this your own pool out your hotel?
Yes, that was in our hotel room that was Mykonos. So we went to 3 spots. Athens, which is on the mainland. Mykonos is one of the islands in the Cyclades. The Cyclades, you guys would like that. And then we went. That's Santorini right there, which
That looks awesome.
Mykonos is like a party. It reminds me of like South Beach, Miami, that area as far as the vibe. And then Santorini is like laid back. You're not going to, you're not staying up till 2, 3 a.m. You're having nice dinners. You're relaxed. That was the nicest place I've ever stayed. The place we went to in Santorini. It was so nice that my hotel neighbor, just on the other side, was Sean McVay, Rams head coach.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I was very fortunate.
So you see Sean
to lose all my
McVay.
money.
So you have your run-in with Dr. Oz, which we documented very well here on the program.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was really hoping to run into him again because I would have talked to him. I wanted
you
to
have
know if that ever
apologized?
got bad. I would have said I would have said not like sorry I did it, but hey, sorry I'm the asshole that kind of outed you there.
I got you.
But
We'll hear more about that.
It was
Hold
a
on.
joke. Okay.
You breeze past Sean McVay being your neighbor. We got to
Yeah.
hit that before we tackle this Oz thing. So, like, when I go on vacation, I'm at the Ozarks and I'm unloading the van, getting all the kids' stuff out and you see another fat, overweight dad doing the same thing. How do you just randomly bump into Sean McVay on vacation?
He was at one of the pools. We saw him, and
Bet he looked good.
he is well put together.
He's
Very
very
well put
handsome.
together.
Very handsome man.
In fact, when we were leaving a couple days ago, we were walking to our shuttle to go to the airport. He and his wife, his pregnant wife, were on their way to the workout center at 8 a.m.
She hot?
She's not bad looking. I'm going to tell you that.
Good for him.
But we talked to him the night before. It was really funny. McVay recognized my friend Matt Berry's voice. And so he was talking to Matt Berry, and then his parents walked up, and his mom recognized me. The only person that recognized me on the entire vacation was Sean McVay's mom.
That's incredible.
She's like,
Because
"Hey,
she
you're
actually
from-
watches HQ, or did she recognize
You're
you
from Two Guys Named Chris. She didn't know. She didn't know what. I don't know what she knew me from, but she recognized me. I felt good about that.
Because you're the guy from that old Stivers Ford commercial.
Probably, yeah. Wait, are you Cooter Ray Cornhole? Really nice people, though. They talked to us for a while, and they were, McVay was taking pictures with people he didn't know, and you go on vacation to a really exclusive place in Greece on an island, and you think maybe, if you're Sean McVay, maybe you can get away from people recognizing you. No.
It's the NFL,
Even-
man. It's so big.
Yeah, even I would say only 15% of the people that we would see were Americans. I mean, most
That's
of the
good.
people that were traveling even to these islands that weren't locals, they were from somewhere in Europe or Asia. It was really, really cool. And the food was the best food I've ever had in my life. And I did not expect that.
Did you see gyros the whole time?
Gyros, feta cheese. We had feta cheese in some variation at every single meal we had. I was having omelets with feta. Then we'd have a feta at lunch. Then we'd have feta at dinner. It was incredible. And they in so many different dips they have. And you know what was really good there? They made some amazing pork,
Really?
which I know is right up your alley.
Well,
I didn't get any pork sphincter.
it's funny you say that because after we get off the program here, I'm going to head to the Fairway here in town and get me a bunch of meat to smoke for America's birthday. We're gonna
Nice.
we're gonna have ourselves a feast. We're gonna get some steaks. We're gonna have some. I got brat burgers already. I'm gonna do me some ribs probably tomorrow.
Wait,
some baby
brat
backs.
burgers?
Yeah, you never had a brat burger?
No, what the hell are you talking about? A brat
Yeah.
burger.
You've never had a brat burger?
I've never even heard of a brat burger. Why would a brat not be in the shape of a brat?
You turn it into a burger.
Why would
Because
you do
sometimes those brats, you put your teeth down and it just like splurges all over the place. The moist insides.
It's basically
Who
a
the hell
skinless.
are
It's
you?
basically a skinless brat into a burger.
Yeah, and you just
Just the
put it
guts.
down into a
It's
patty.
the guts of a brat.
That is not a brat. I'm sorry. It's not.
It's not. It's a brat burger.
Do you have hot dog burgers too?
No, that'd be too hard because you've got like all the pig lips and the pig anus and stuff like that. Like that is the actual hot dog to actually condense it. That'd be a really difficult thing to do.
I've
For the
lost
butcher.
some respect for you.
Oh, F off. Go
I really
and party
have.
with Sean McVay, okay? I'm going to be hanging out with my homies. Van Winkle's going to bring the kids over. We're gonna have ourselves a weekend.
Van Winkle's
So-
going to actually leave Fairway. I figured he'd just spend the whole day and night in Fairway.
They're closed on Sundays, so
Matt,
Oh,
how many
right.
times have
Get a
you
day
been to
off.
the new Fairway in town since it's opened?
a dozen probably.
Didn't you say, Williams, like a couple times you've shown up there and you see Van Wink?
Yeah,
in
just
one of the
he's
aisles.
always just there.
Yeah.
Just has a
Matt-
sleeping bag on the floor in
Well,
aisle 5.
Forgot something. I'm gonna stop by and get some bacon.
I saw you there the other day, Williams, picking up some ice cream on your birthday.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, I sent
Girl-
out such a heartfelt tweet
Oh.
about his birthday. People thought I was kidding. People thought I was like mocking his birthday.
In your
Oh,
headband.
you have a reputation, my friend. The Twitter though, like nobody can take anything for like what it is. It's like everybody's got to read that something's polarizing in any sort of a statement anymore. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, it's like people just get pissed over anything. Real quick, I want to thank a couple of our great sponsors here. We already did Fairway, the presenting sponsor of Two Guys Named Chris. We have a new sponsor here on Two Guys Named Chris. I'm fired up about this one.
Oh, my dad's going to be really excited. He loves when we get new sponsors. He loves it.
Do you this is so not up your alley because these guys are like manly men. They're badass dudes down in Oskaloosa. You
Now,
ever
what
been
do
to
you mean? They're-
Oskaloosa?
Yeah, I have.
These guys, so Kelderman Manufacturing down in Oskaloosa.
Oski,
This-
yeah. That's where Musco started.
This is the most badass sponsor we've ever had.
Okay,
So
what do they do?
they do a ton of things, and we'll tell you a lot about them here in the coming months. But I think the most badass thing they do is if you want, they'll build you a dream truck. Okay, you can buy a truck through like Ford or Dodge or Chevy or whatever, and then they'll send it to Kelderman Manufacturing, and these guys will put on their custom suspensions, custom bumpers, and they'll make your truck freaking badass down there in Oskaloosa. And they're huge listeners to Two Guys Named Chris. Look at this.
Holy
From their website.
moly.
Yeah,
Those are like
it's
monster
freaking awesome.
trucks.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome, dude.
I want to be sitting at 12 feet. I want to be 12 feet high in the cab. We'll do it.
Where you have to like have a ladder to get up
Yes.
into the truck.
We'll do it.
These guys are incredible. Check out their website. They're really cool dudes too, and they love Two Guys Named Chris. So shout out to our friends
All right.
at Kelderman.
Welcome,
Manufacturing.
Kelderman.
All right, so the Dr. Oz thing. We've covered it here on the program. It went viral.
Yeah,
When you
I did not
decided to-
expect that.
When you,
I-
when- yeah, I was gonna say when you decided to take a picture of Dr. Oz asleep on an airplane and posted it all over social media, you really didn't think that it would catch on.
Well, I didn't think that it like Barstool would pick it up and stuff. I didn't think. I thought it might get some play and people laughing about it. But so we saw him in the airport in Athens, and we were flying to Mykonos. It's only like a 30-minute flight, so it's on this like really basic aircraft. It was called Aegean Air. The Aegean Sea is where we were at, that area, the Aegean Sea. So it was Aegean Air. There was like really no first class or anything like that. Every seat was pretty much the same. It's kind of like JetBlue or something. And so we see him, and he boarded last. It was a weird process in Greece. You would be at your gate, but your flight wasn't at the gate. You would board a bus, and the bus would drive you out to your aircraft. And they had to use like 3 different buses to get everybody. So we were on the first bus. He was on the last bus. So he comes on very last, sits right in front of me, plops down, and just immediately reclines his seat. Immediately.
And this is like your thing. I had to
Yes.
explain this to a couple people. This didn't come out of nowhere. This has been your thing for a long
I've always been
time.
bitching about people reclining their seats on airplanes because I don't do it myself, and I'm 6'2". I give the person behind me the respect that they deserve. Now, there are a couple instances where it's okay. And I had one of those on the way back from Athens. I was in a row that was right in front of the exit row. So there was extra legroom behind me. There was where people would not be affected with me reclining my seat. You can recline in that instance, and I did because it didn't affect them because they had a ton of legroom because they were in the exit row. You can also do it in first class because they put enough room between everybody on most planes where you're also not affected by that. You can also do it if there's like a kid behind you, a really small kid. Okay. But there's just very few times you
got
can
it
do
covered. That. Okay. But Oz just sits his ass down and goes
Yes.
right to
And-
sleep.
Yes. Well, I didn't know he was asleep. That's the other thing. So he reclines into me, and my friend takes a picture of it and sends it to me. And I really didn't even look at what he looked like. I wanted to make sure I looked good. I didn't even realize he was asleep. And I also didn't realize that would change the way some people looked at the post. Like I've talked to some people that have said him being asleep goes to another level, like another level of, it's not voyeurism, but like he's even more vulnerable because he's asleep. Like if he was awake, then it wouldn't have pissed as many people off because there were some people that were pissed. Most of the people argued about whether or not it was okay to recline your seat. And I'm going to be honest, it really didn't affect me that much on this flight. I mean, it was a short 30-minute flight. I had enough leg room. It was fine. It was just, I posted it kind of as a joke. And because Dr. Oz is a very divisive political figure,
Yes.
people are taking pictures of him all the time. It was unbelievable how many people recognized him on that flight.
More people recognize him or Todd McVay?
Oh, Dr. Oz for sure. Yeah. Everybody was like, oh, wow, it's Dr. Oz. And there were people coming by saying, hey, Dr. Oz, I love you. And he was nice to them. And so I thought he was awake. He wasn't. Or, I mean, he was probably just like relaxing. I don't know. So I didn't even really think twice about it because I thought it was funny. And I feel like he's fair game because he's such a political figure, a divisive political figure.
It's kind of like if, like, Ted Cruz or Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Bit, I
Yes.
mean, those people they kind of just put themselves out there.
Like if it was Charles Barkley, I'm probably not doing it. I'm just not, because I think he's a lot more likable.
Yeah.
And I would think,
well, won't put words in your mouth, but you respect him more.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't really care about Dr. Oz. I don't know what he believes. Honestly, I don't even. I think he's a Republican,
So you didn't,
but I don't.
What happens
I don't know.
when so you put this tweet out?
Yes.
People start responding, and then all of a sudden, Barstool's tweeting about it.
Here's what happened. It was really, really funny. So I tweeted that out. It was probably, I don't know, 4 p.m. our time in Greece, and I see it starts, getting more traction than I thought. Couple hours go by, and then I show my wife and the 2 people that we were traveling with. Matt and Ashley Berry. And their reaction, my wife was like, Chris, why would you post that? Take it down. And I'll be honest, Matt and Ashley Berry said, I shouldn't have done it. I should not have posted that. Well, why? Because he's not aware that we're taking the picture of him and you're posting it. And Kristen, my wife, was like, yeah, I can't. Why would you do that? I can't believe you would do that. You need to take that down right now. And I said, no, I can't.
You can't now.
It's a couple hours into it. It's already
You're pot invested. You're
gained
in.
so much traction that I would look worse. That's like, if you look at PR 101 for Twitter, the first thing is don't delete a tweet.
Yeah, just live with it.
You have to. You can try to explain it, but don't delete it. That makes things worse. So I just had to let it ride. And then it hit kind of, the bar stool and some of this other stuff. And and I'm just sitting there like, God damn it. I really, because I still
knowing you, I bet you were just
much
obsessed
wrong with
it too.
I was, but I was more obsessed with that my wife was upset about it.
Yeah, I know. You texted me like 4 times. Like you were trying to get me to validate it for you, I think.
I was?
I think,
what was I saying?
think psychologically you were trying to get me and Keith Murphy to be like, oh, it's okay.
Keith, so it's funny. Keith was like, Keith loved it. Like he was like, oh my God, this is great. This is,
but
now
Keith
it's on
loves the viral
Barstool.
shit. Like he loves that.
And then he was like, well, I wouldn't have done it. But it's all right. It's you. You did it. It's great.
Okay. Here's the thing. Dr. Oz ran for senator of the United States. He's probably had much worse things tweeted about him.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's
You're
why
right,
I
Matt.
feel like it was
He
okay.
doesn't care. He doesn't care. That's why he didn't respond. People
That's
were tagging
exactly
him.
what I
He
thought.
probably saw it, and he was like, whatever. I don't care about this guy. Sorry.
Exactly.
Nailed it, Matt.
And maybe I'm still not right in thinking that it's okay. But I think it's okay because of who it was. And I'm not saying that because I disagree with his politics. I don't even know what his politics are, other than he's a Republican. I'm just saying that because I feel like he's fair game, and I don't feel like it was that. So some people said, well, he was asleep. That made things different.
I don't like these. I don't like these viral, famous weathermen. I don't like Al Roker, and I don't like these doctors either because it's like douche doctor. You know what I mean?
So
you know
like
what the
Dr.
doctor
Phil?
is? Dr. Nicholson down there at the Iowa clinic when I go, and the guy touches my balls once a year. That's a doctor.
Was that the doctor that gave you the fake vasectomy?
No, but that was one of his colleagues. No, he's not a doctor. He's like an actor. He may technically be a doctor, but he ain't no doctor anymore. He's not a doctor.
Anyway, it pretty much ran its course in a day, and it was done with. But I was hoping I would see him because I would like to ask him if it ever got back to him. What do you mean?
Went back to Clarinda this week.
I'm saying on social media, it's run its course.
Oh, well, I'm sitting in there at the Shittily D in Clarinda on Friday night. My buddy Mac, Hawkeye fan, first thing he says to me is about Hassel and Dr. Oz.
What did he say?
He's like, man, Mac's a very understated guy. He's like, Hassel leaves the country for 1 week and he can't stay out of trouble. Shout out to our friends at Circa Sports, Circa Resort and Casino. We will be out there coming up for week 0 for college football. If y'all want to join us, we'll be out there. Hassel,
you know what that is,
join
Williams?
us.
That's
What?
next month.
I know, dude. It's
We're getting there.
freaking crazy. College, a week from tomorrow, I'm flying to Dallas for Big 12 Media Days. Does that sound insane to you?
Wow, that does.
So I panicked over the weekend. I was like, holy shit, I don't know anything about these teams. Like normally by now I can name off rosters, but because of this gambling thing, because of the transfer portal, and because of all these new teams, it seemed very overwhelming to me. this year in the Big 12 specifically. So this weekend,
So you were trying to, like, I've kind of done the same thing. You kind of try to wait it out and see if it sorts itself out before you dive into it.
Yeah, like, so I don't know. I really lightly started to get into it this weekend, taking my notes and all that stuff. But like with Iowa State, like, I'm not even going to try and project like what they're going to be until I know who's playing.
Well, and
that's one thing you
changing the
missed.
rules.
That is one thing you missed. No, with the gambling thing. Yeah, they changed the
I know.
rules. So that's the biggest thing you missed when you were gone. And it's directly tied to Iowa and Iowa State. If you look at the dates on that thing about May 2nd and May 1st and all that, that's exactly when Iowa and Iowa State reported. This is good for Iowa and Iowa State that they've loosened regulations on it. I look at it as a bigger picture, though, Chris. We've got this new guy, Charlie Baker, who is the head of the NCAA now. Mark Emmert is out. I think they are – so, one, they did that study like a month ago on student-athletes gambling, and they found out that literally everyone's doing it. And I think that they know they're being realistic here. Like, okay, there's going to be more of these. We can't suspend our entire workforce. And that's what college athletes are. They're the workforce that just doesn't get paid. So this is a good thing for Iowa and Iowa State. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have big suspensions in our state. I still think that we will. But it's definitely a move in a more progressive direction by the NCAA. And I think we have a lot more of these to come because I think this new guy realizes if they don't evolve, they will die. They being the NCAA.
Oh, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
my read on this.
What I don't get is why is a dollar figure affecting the number of games you might miss, the amount of time you might miss? Why does it matter if somebody bet $50 or bet $300? Like, why does that matter? Shouldn't the number of bets matter more than the amount of money you're spending? Because everyone has a different amount of money. What if you're from a really, really wealthy family where money isn't a big thing to you?
I hadn't thought about it like that. That's interesting.
The dollar figure, I don't think should mean anything.
I used to bet illegally in college all the time. I mean, hell, I had a bookie in one of those Caribbean countries I would bet through all the time, but it was like $5 because that's all that I could lose. Maybe what they're trying to do is they're trying to stave off, guys becoming too overextended. And when I say guys, that's because I'm not aware of a female in our state who is caught up in this. I think it's all men from what I understand. So that's why I keep saying guys. Clearly females are smarter than the dumb gambling tax, right? Like,
to me, this seems like it's almost a temporary, like a one-time thing because they're saying like after May 2nd, like why would that apply to like next year? Like I feel like they're going to reassess this probably.
They say after May 2nd, Matt, that is the date that
right. I know, but I'm just saying
reported.
Like Hassel said, like the dollar figures seem like very oddly specific. So I almost think this will be reassessed maybe next season when they have a little more time.
I think they need to. You have to, and it should be
a little more.
Especially when these players are making millions of dollars in some cases.
And that's my other point on the dollar figure and how it should not play into this. Let's just say you're a high-level quarterback and you're making $1 million a year. You're going to be betting a lot more. If you're betting on something, you're going to be betting a lot more than the punter. Maybe not at Iowa, but like let's just say like a backup safety who might not be getting much of anything in NIL. I mean, the amount of money you have is totally different. So why?
Totally agree. The whole thing is like they shouldn't be betting, right? Like I understand. Here's the deal. I understand why the NCAA would not want its players betting on sports because they
betting on anything. So you don't think that they should be allowed to bet on a horse race?
No, I think that they should. I understand why they wouldn't want an Iowa State basketball player to be able to bet on the NBA playoffs when he can text George Niang. Like I know what they're trying to prevent. Mm-hmm. I also think this is one of those, it's not black and white to me. There's a lot of gray area in this conversation. I also think now when we look around and it's illegal everywhere, that it's got to be more like an NFL approach. If Justin Jefferson wants to bet on the NBA Finals, he should be able to, and he's able to. That's what they have to get to. It's what's dated about this is that so anything that the NCAA sponsors is a no-go. So technically, if Spencer Petras wanted to bet $1 million on a UFC fight, he could, because the NCAA doesn't sponsor MMA.
But if it was rowing in the Olympics,
yes, he couldn't do it. So, like, that's where we've got to get. So, I get it. We don't want Iowa State players betting on San Francisco 49er games. That's what they're trying to prevent because they don't want these guys immature, trying to claim they have inside information because of Brock Purdy or whatever. Keep it like that. You can't bet on the sport that you play. Make it just like the NFL. If an Iowa State or an Iowa football player wants to bet on the WNBA, freaking have as much fun as you want. It's legal for everybody else. It should be legal for you too. That's where I stand.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. They just have to figure this thing out and figure it out soon.
It really put a damper on the offseason. Like, it's not fun.
It has.
It's not fun. Like, normally by now I'm going through every Iowa and Iowa State game, and I'm not going to do that though because I don't know who's playing for these teams.
We're 2 months away. Some teams less than that.
Yeah,
and we don't know. What's the date of the first game? September.
It's Memorial or Labor Day weekend, so first, I believe.
All right, well, less than 2 months away.
Channel Seed Studios. We appreciate our friends at Channel Seed. I guarantee you some of my my fellow Channel Seed enthusiasts, some of the seedsmen are shooting off fireworks today.
Oh, they had all kinds of crops out there in Greece. You know what they grow?
No, I actually don't.
Grapes for wine.
You know, if a dog eats a grape, it's toxic?
Yes, I did know that.
Very toxic. My wife won't even let grapes be in our house.
Really?
Because Elise just throws them on the floor.
Oh, the snot-nosed kids.
Yeah. We appreciate Channel C. Have you seen the pictures, Hassel, of the new studio in Ankeny?
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. I got a
text the other day from Zavolinsky. He's like, what the hell are you and Williams putting together here? A Dan Patrick show?
So right now it's set up, and it's, this is a Cyclone Fanatic thing that we've kind of dreamed up for a long time. So it's got all Cyclone stuff in it. But Bohannon's getting me a jersey. I'm going to get me a Chris Street jersey. So we will have Iowa stuff in there when we use it for Iowa everywhere. How are you getting a Chris Street
jersey?
I don't know. We're trying. It's going to have to be like a replica type. Like, it's not going to be a... But I thought that's... Listen, I would hope that Iowa fans out there can understand. Like, I'm not going to go up there and put, like, an autographed picture of, like, Fran McCaffrey in the studio. I'm just not. J-Bo's my guy.
Who the hell is going to think you would do that?
Well, I don't know. I had a bunch of Iowa fans responding like, oh, there's nothing in there about the Hawks. It's like,
come on. I would say 90% of Hawkeye fans don't want anything to do with a Fran McCaffrey autograph either.
I thought about like a Chris Murray jersey, stuff like that I could live with. That's very neutral. But anyways, no, it's pretty sweet. So we're looking forward to that. We'll get some Channel C gear up in there as well as our sponsor of the month, our friends at Wild Rose Casino. They are a big sponsor of what we've done for a long time at Cyclone Fanatic as well, and they are on board here for the month of July to sponsor us on Iowa Everywhere. They got a bunch of concerts coming up later this month. I really like the small casino feel when I go in there. I'm a huge fan of the one in Jefferson. I've been there. I went to a Clint Black. Do you know who Clint Black is, Hassel?
He's a country singer, right?
Old country singer. I went to a Clint Black concert.
What's the difference between Clint Black and George Strait?
George Strait's
like
better.
The same person. One syllable names.
George Strait is the greatest country music artist of all time. Clint Black was just a good one.
Is he dead?
No, he's not dead.
Oh,
you think George Strait's dead?
No, Clint Black. You said
no,
Clint
he's
Black
not dead.
He's
not dead.
You were talking about him in past tense.
Free concerts coming up in Emmitsburg, Clinton, and Jefferson on July 20th, 21st, and 22nd. All outdoor shows, all ages. Early 90s rock, that would be. And, we'll be telling you about these with our friends at Wild Rose Casino coming up over the next month or so. We appreciate them sponsoring us here on Iowa Everywhere. Wanted to move into I'm assuming, and you probably can't say a ton, but you were with an ESPN personality over this trip, and ESPN with a massive round of layoffs. These things get more shocking to me every time. This one blew me away. I'm going to just list off a few names for people, and there were many more people who lost their jobs. Jeff Van Gundy, Steve Young, Jalen Rose, Max Kellerman, Susie Colbert, Todd McShay, Matt Hasselbeck, David Pollock. Really, Hassel, this blew me away. I think Jeff Van Gundy is the best commentator in the sport of basketball right now.
I think a lot of people feel that way, as far as the NBA anyway. That was one of the shockers. Now, there were rumors and reports about certain people. Like, I don't think many were surprised about Kellerman, Keyshawn Johnson, if you were following this whole story, because
they gutted ESPN Radio is what they did.
They did, and they're moving more toward the podcast end of things. Again, Iowa Everywhere ahead of the curve. ESPN following your lead. Williams.
I'm not going to say it. You could say it, but they gutted ESPN Radio. You could tell.
Yes. That
they have completely pulled all investment from the radio side of things. And also these studio shows, like Susie Colbert, 27 years there. Tom McShay, I think is phenomenal. I don't get that one as much as ESPN puts into the draft.
Surprise.
What the hell?
That was a surprise. And I know there are people inside ESPN that were even surprised themselves about that.
He'll get picked up by somebody. But, God, I just how long can you keep calling him the worldwide leader? I mean, they're going to keep having these rights, and these rights fees are going up, and then you pay for guys like Pat McAfee. Stephen A. Smith makes an ungodly number. Mm-hmm. They're wanting more home run hitters and fewer guys to go out there and hit singles.
Here's the problem, too, is they're not – there's a narrative out there that, go woke, go broke, that they're losing money. That's not the case. ESPN continues to make a ton of money. All this is for stockholders, for the profit shares. Yes, they want to continue to get more money for the stockholders, the investors. They're not losing money. They're not cutting these people because they are in hard times or anything like that. Now, they're not making money hand over fist like they were in the heydays of cable, but they are still getting a ton of money into that Disney structure.
Can I get on my soapbox for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
This is why we have a major problem for local markets in our country. So this is just ESPN, but they're owned by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And you nailed it. Their stock has been getting crushed for well over a year. They bring Bob Iger back. Iger's trying to make it more attractive so they can get that stock price. It's like $90 right now. It was like $150 not that long ago, okay? But the problem we have in media right now is that the majority of these companies that own the local, so like the local TV station, the local radio stations, they're now owned by what are essentially hedge funds. Like the Des Moines Register Gannett is owned by a hedge fund. So when I say the words, nobody's going to be additive to our local market going forward, it's all going to be dilutive, they don't give a shit about the local market and the local people, because it's the exact same scenario here. Everybody in Bristol knows that laying off Todd McShay and Jeff Van Gundy is not good for the product. They all get it. This is all about the bottom line on paper. Anybody in Des Moines when they laid off all of us at KXNO however many years ago, everybody in that building knew it was a bad idea. But the, iHeartMedia, which has been bankrupt like however many times, like they don't care because our local building didn't bring in enough money to move the needle for them like New York and LA do. And like this is all kind of tied together here. And it's really sad. Like I just think we're going to see more and more of ESPN where it's just Pat McAfee and, Stephen A. Smith just yelling at the camera.
They'll pay a few guys a ton of money, and then you'll see them everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mike
look
Greenberg.
at all the different things that Stephen A. Smith and Mike Greenberg are on right now. And that's how they can justify paying them between $5 and $10 million a year. And McAfee is going to be between $10 and $20 million a year. And they look at those guys differently than they look at some of the other guys. You might say, like, well, how do you pay Pat McAfee that amount of money? You're basically paying him all the money that you're saving with these cuts. And that's close to being true, but they look at him totally differently. They're going to get a new audience with him. And make no mistake, a few years down the road, maybe not even a few years, there's going to be another round of layoffs. I mean, how many times have we seen this? I was there for 4.5 years. There were 2 layoffs before they even got to mine. And the one thing I will say that people might not understand about these, sometimes they call them firings, that they're not. You have a contract. So me, for instance.
Real quick, Chris, some people may not have realized you were a part of this at one time.
2017.
Yeah. So Chris was laid off at ESPN.
I was sitting in my hotel room in Canada between games 2 and 3 of the G League finals. And I got a call that I was being let go. And they said, oh, well, but we do want you to call that game tomorrow. But that'll be your last work at ESPN. Well, here's just a little backstory on that. I had just signed a 2-year deal like a month before that. So it's a firing would be you're gone, no more money. They can't do that. You have a contract. Yeah. You can do that with certain contracts, like the local TV contracts they're making these people sign now are horrible. They're all one way. A company could just get rid of you and maybe only have to pay you for the next 30 days. These contracts, though, they still owe you all that money. They can't get out of that. So for me, I still had, 20, 21 months left on my deal. So I could have just sat there and collected all that. You don't get that in a lump sum. You still just get paid like normal every 2 weeks.
Yeah. And
you keep getting that money. Everybody that got laid off, they're still going to get their paychecks until you want to jump back into the workforce.
But then when Disney announces its quarterly earnings, it will be, well, here
all
we
those
project
names are off
10,
the books.
Yeah, 10 months out, this is what it's going to look like. And then the stock price goes up because the numbers look better.
So
that's why, Brent. Brent just asked, so why lay people off instead of just waiting for them? That's why. Because they're wanting to project a share. Look at what we're doing to make the company more profitable, and that in return will make the stock price go up.
Correct. And so I got paid by ESPN for the next, 3 or 4 months. But then when I got my job at CBS and at Stadium, then we had to go and talk to ESPN lawyers and kind of discuss how to, they call it a settlement. It's not really a settlement. Bottom line is, if you get a job where you're going to be making more money than you were making at ESPN, they're done paying you.
Yeah. And that's
now, if you were to get a job where they're going to pay less, then you work out some sort of, okay, maybe they'll give you a little, because they have to make you whole. Like they can't just, you have to see that money over the remainder of the contract. They can't get out of that.
I was talking to one local television personality. This was a couple months ago. And this person was telling me that they knew of one of their coworkers, what they signed their first contract and what they were making, and then what this person signed their first contract for. And this person was making like $20,000, $25,000 less than the coworker was like 15 years ago.
Yes. Inflation goes up, salaries in local media go down.
Correct. And
Way
that's not
down.
going to change.
No, it's sad. And these contracts, they are so bad. I mean, you know this from working in local radio. They will force you in some of these local markets to sign a contract that does absolutely nothing for you and everything for them. The contract might say, okay, 2
They'll basically
years.
say if you don't sign this, then you don't have your job. I mean,
Yes.
essentially.
If you don't
is how
sign
it-
this, you're fired.
Yeah.
And if you do sign it, it's a 2-year contract. You're making X amount of money, but we can fire you whenever we want.
Yeah.
And we only have to pay
For
you
anything,
for
without cause.
a couple weeks. Yes. It's one-sided now in these local markets. These ESPN contracts, these major media contracts, they still protect the personality. So all these people that got laid off, they're still going to see all of that money.
Van Gundy, man, the state of the NBA's media is in flux because we don't know who's going to be the rights holder this next time around. Amazon is all in on it. Van Gundy will be the lead guy for whoever gets that.
Somebody
contract.
is going to.
The one I love here that we haven't talked about is I love Jalen Rose. I
Really?
love his. Yeah, I just he has this ability to me to dumb it down for a guy like me. When he's talking, he'll end up at the Ringer. He's really close with Simmons. Like he's gonna get a show. Like I'm not worried about him. I haven't watched him much lately though, because I just don't watch ESPN nearly as much as I used to.
And honestly, a lot of the people that were laid off, you mentioned Jalen Rose, Jeff Van Gundy. These are people that don't need the paycheck anyway.
Yeah.
These are people that have already made millions and millions in hand over fist for decades. It's the people that weren't former athletes that you.
Well, it's like
you
the
feel
producers on ESPN radio that got let go. It's like and I don't know what they're gonna do. There's just nobody hiring those type of jobs now.
Right. Yeah, it's tough.
Moving on. Oh, real quick, we missed this. I don't want to talk about this beer stuff much longer. I'm just really sick of it. But I am a fan of what Bloom pulled off here with Westo. This is great. The reason I say I don't want to talk about it is just how stupid people's reactions are, both sides, to all this beer stuff with the collectives. I'm just like, I don't. You know me very well. I do not get worked up over the Cyhawk thing. Hardly ever. I'm so callous to it. Like it does not. Iowa fans, you can tweet all you want at me. You do not impact me. I promise. I got so freaking annoyed when Bloom and the collective made their announcement, and all these Iowa fans were just you're just a big copycat. Like Iowa is the first fucking place on the planet to have a branded beer. Like, oh my God, I was just so.
Bloom hadn't been working on this
Yeah, like
before Iowa came out with theirs.
Bloom had been working on a whiskey for like a year now. Like because I've been a part of those conversations. I was like helping him make contacts and stuff. Like, so like just stop. Iowa State fans, you don't have to boycott Exile. If you don't want to drink it, that's fine. I don't drink Exile, and that's fine. Like, it's not a boycott. I just don't do it. But you don't have to go out and try and ruin their business. Iowa fans, you did not invent branded beers in the year 2023.
Didn't Iowa come out with a vodka too? Aren't they coming out? There's already a Hawkeye vodka, which doesn't have anything to do with the university or the athletic department. But now they're coming out with what's it called? What's it going to be called? Swarm vodka?
Yes. And I have some details on this too. Because they said they're doing it with Foundry. Bloom, I don't want to say too much, but there was an agreement with. So Iowa State's collective works a lot better with the university than Iowa's does, from what I understand. Right, it's not my words. This Brad Heinrich will come out and just rip the AD, right? So, I'm not speculating here. It's very clear. Iowa State has been working on the spirits thing, Bloom in the collective half, for a long time, and there's a bigger Iowa State thing coming out, and they're trying to play nice with the university.
Oh God! So Iowa comes out with the vodka, and now Bloom is going to be coming out with a spirit of his own that's going to be following.
Yeah, so that's the problem. None of this is and I don't want to be the Swarm did a great job. The can's awesome. They got a great brewery that they're pairing with. They did an awesome job. Two things can be true here, right? So yeah, it's just, I'm just so over it. I just want to freaking get to the games. I'm so tired of the anonymous Twitter guy just bitching, and I'm just done with it. But if you want to talk about the can, Hassel, go for it.
The can?
Or if you want to talk about the Iowa State beer, you've been out of this. I'm giving you the floor.
I mean, I would like to do a taste test.
We can do that. We can arrange that.
And I would like you to put the cans inside of the Fairway meat box so that it all arrives at the same time.
Two guys named Chris. We are presented by our friends.
What, you're just going to ignore that?
Fairway.
What would happen is the pressure would just explode those cans, and your meat would be ruined, though.
Oh, it would be beer-soaked meat.
Beer.
Ooh.
Yeah, put some brats in that box.
Some skinless
Not
burgers.
brat burgers. Real brats.
I'm going to soak my brat burgers in Busch Light today, now that I think about it. Speaking of Busch Light, so I'm back.
Hang on. Wait. What is, so the Swarm is it's not, neither one of these things are light beers, right? They're regular, full-bodied beers, correct?
I think, yeah. But
the Swarm beer looks a little bit different. The Swarm beer looks more like a Pilsner.
Yeah, which I won't like. I just don't like that type of. It's like that golden. Yeah.
And the Ames beer looks hazier.
The Ames beer feels to me like you're just drinking Budweiser.
Really?
That's
hazier to me.
Vibe I've got.
It looks to me almost. I know it's not an IPA, but it looks like almost like a Hefeweizen.
I hope not. I hope that's not the case. I think that they both are just designed to be really easy drinking. They need to be light though,
which they should be. Yes.
They want to sell a lot of these things.
Can I ask you this?
Make them light.
Do they call it Ames Lager as a play on the Ames water?
Yeah, so if you see the back side of the can, there's a reference to how great Ames's water is.
But it's not made in Ames.
Yeah, I know. It's just kind of a joke. It's like,
are they taking the water right out of Okoboji?
It's a self-deprecating thing that they were doing. I think they did a good job with it. It's very different than the Iowa one too. The Iowa one's very sleek. It's very new age, and this is it's an old school can. It looks like an old PBR type can. They both did a good job, I think.
Kyle's asking, will the Ames beer be available across state lines?
I'm told yes. Westo's all over the state, so yes. Bloom said on a tweet last night, mid-August, it'll be everywhere, right before football season.
So Van Wink's got the pictures of the, looks like the two different beers.
Here's the Swarm. It's a little
That's
lighter.
the Swarm. Yeah, that looks like a Pilsner to me.
That does look awfully heavy.
That's darker, yeah.
Interesting. This is not fandom. Fandom aside, I will like the lager better because I don't like the golden type of. It's just not my
really?
style. Yeah. I don't like Pilsners. I don't do it.
You know, they sold a lot of Heinekens out there in Greece.
God, disgusting.
Oh,
It's like if Dr. Oz pissed in a green bottle. That's what Heineken is.
Okay. I already told you that the repo guy's coming for my pool because we spent so much money on this trip. I broke my previous record for most expensive cocktail. The previous record was in Italy, in Positano. The cocktails were $25. That was my previous record for most expensive cocktail. What price do you think I spent to break that record this time around? And by the way, I broke it multiple times on this trip.
$50.
Nope.
Higher?
Higher.
Or are you drinking Pappy Van Winkle?
And this is euros, which are worth more than dollars. So like $50, 50 American dollars.
You spent $100 on a cocktail?
That would be like 47, 46.
$100.
Less. Okay. $65.
What'd you drink?
It was just a martini, a vodka martini. So this is Matt Berry's fault.
So you're just getting ripped off. You're staying at these hoity-toity places in Europe.
So a regular martini at this hotel bar would have been like 21, 22 euro, which would be like almost $25. He sees the different vodkas they have back there. And like you get like Tito's or whatever, and that would be like $21. Well, he sees Beluga. He loves Beluga. He goes, yeah, get us that Beluga. And I'm telling you, this was like half the size of a regular martini you would get too. So we get the Beluga, slightly dirty martini with some olives.
What's that mean, slightly dirty? What does that mean?
It means a little bit of olive juice.
Okay.
So it's just vodka and a little bit of olive juice.
What if
shaken
you like
up
it
with ice?
What if you ask him really dirty?
Really dirty? That's a lot of olive juice.
I want it filthy.
So, and we get the checks, and they charged $65.
That's more than I paid for that Pappy Van Winkle up in Minneapolis.
Yeah, but you got hoodwinked. That wasn't real. That was Pappy Van Hoodwink. That wasn't Pappy Van Winkle.
It was Pappy's nephew's vodka.
But there were places we would go. Like we went to this beach club one day in Mykonos. Every single cocktail was at least 33 euro, which is like
Why'd
37
you just get a
bucks.
beer? How much is a beer there? Like 12 bucks?
A beer was 10 euro.
Oh, yeah, just get that. Did they have
But
Swarm?
they didn't have yeah. Give me a Swarm. Give me a Westo Ames lager. No, they had like, it wasn't even a good selection of beer at this beach club. And it's because, I guarantee they did it because they want you to get the cocktails. So my go-to drink was the Aperol Spritz. I bet you've never had one of those.
I've never had one.
It's good. It's nice and refreshing. You'd hate it.
It sounds terrible. A couple other things we want to get through. We can go a little bit longer.
No, what do you mean? I got to get to work, you some bitch.
Oh, you have to work today?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not a holiday.
All right, we can do Elon Musk trying to kill Twitter at another time.
Yeah, hopefully it's still alive when we get to it. I think he took that off, right? Isn't it okay now?
I think
so. I don't know.
I haven't been affected by it. The first day I was.
Was just going to point out to you, Chris, that I did play golf back home over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw you in front of the haunted insane asylum
prison.
Wait, so was that the Clarinda Academy?
No, the Clarinda Academy.
You confuse people with that.
The
people
prison
were thinking you were talking about the
and the mental health institute are all in this. They're all shut down now. But I wanted to show you.
Was your grandpa?
That was at the mental health institution.
Your grandpa was the warden of the mental health spot?
As we wrap things up, this is why you don't shut down the mental health institution. Look at this guy. There's a guy, my mom was telling me about this, who walks around town wearing a tail. We can zoom in on that.
Hell?
There, Matt. This guy, he walks around town and
he wears this all the time?
Yes.
Is he a furry?
What the hell is a furry? What does that mean?
You don't know what a furry is?
Like he thinks he's a cat?
You really don't know what a furry is?
No.
Like you've never seen a furry convention?
This guy wears his tail all around town. And like it doesn't matter. So this picture was obviously taken in the winter because he's wearing like jeans and like a bigger jacket. But allegedly he just walked like today on the it's 4th of July, it's hot, he'll be wearing shorts and he's got this tail.
Shut up.
He just wears his tail around. This is why you don't just randomly shut down mental health hospitals. You just put these people out into the wild.
Do you really not know what a furry is?
I don't know what a furry is.
A furry is someone who wears like an animal costume. And they go to these conventions with these other people who wear these animal costumes. And they're all attracted to each other.
Like sexually?
Yes. And there are holes that they will cut in like little flaps. And they will have sex with each other while wearing these mascot costumes. There was an MTV documentary on this like 15 years ago. These weirdos meeting up, and you have no idea what the person looks like inside of it. But it doesn't matter to them. All they care about is what the mascot, the outside looks like.
My sister was telling me that this guy's wife wears a tail too.
What is going on? God. Western Iowa's weird, man.
You have to come down sometime. It'd be a good time. Take you down to the old Shittily D. You'd enjoy it. All right. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in on your July 3rd. It's going to be a freaking war zone out there later on tonight here in this town. Bondurant on the 4th of July holiday is just freaking crazy.
I'm so glad that I'm not. I was there once over 4th of July after they made it legal. And God, it was horrible.
I love it. It's but the dogs, man, I just feel bad for the dogs. Like my dog is old now and he will lose his mind tonight. But, it's part of being a dog. Like don't be a dog if you can't handle it, get out of the pound, right?
That's not really how it works, but enjoy it.
I'm going to drug my dog up and put him in the basement. That's what I'll do.
We won't even leave. If we're around on the 3rd or the 4th and we know there's going to be fireworks, we will stay home.
God, you're such a wuss. You're such a...
I'm not a wuss. I care more about
Europe, all right?
My dog than you do.
If you don't love our country, if you don't appreciate the United States of America, then go back to Europe.
Yeah, you have to get there. You got to get to Greece. It's incredible. But don't recline your seat.
I'm going to go back on vacation here in a couple weeks. I'm going back to the Lake of the Ozarks.
Again? How many times a year do you go there?
About 3.
You've been there like 3 times already.
I've been there twice. I usually try and get there 3 times.
Wow.
You don't got to get on no plane with Dr. Oz and Sean McVay to get to the Lake of the Ozarks.
How long is that drive?
About 5 hours. It's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah. You just give the kids Benadryl and get down there. I'm kidding. Do not report me. All right. Have a great 4th of July, everybody. We will be back on Thursday. 2 guys named Chris here on Iowa Everywhere. Stay safe out there.